to the J-Man Movie Buzz, here with today's movie reviews. Here we go. The first one is the Robin Williams' first direct-to-DVD movie. It's called The Angriest Man in Brooklyn, with Mila Kunis, Peter Dinklage from TV's Game of Thrones, and Melissa Leo from The Fighter. If you haven't seen this movie, here's the quick synopsis. Some people have bad days. Henry Altman has one every day. Always unhappy and angry at the world, including everyone in it. Henry sits impatiently at the doctor's office when he is finally seen by Dr. Sharon Gill, Kunis. Sharon, who is enduring her own bad day, reveals that Henry has a brain aneurysm. The news makes Henry even angrier. Yelling at Sharon, he demands to know how much time he has left. Faced with Henry's anger and insults, Sharon abruptly tells him he has only 90 minutes. Shocked and reeling by this news, Henry storms out of the office, leaving Sharon stunned by what she has just done. In a lapse of judgment, as Sharon goes on a citywide search, Henry struggles with his diagnosis, determined to make amends with everyone he has hurt in his life. That's The Angriest Man in Brooklyn. Here's the disc. My next review is the new John Cusack, Thomas J. movie, Drive Hard. This is filmed here on the Gold Coast, Queensland. Here's the synopsis. American thief Simon Keller, Cusack, arrives in a foreign country in need of a getaway driver. Rather than recruit one from the underworld, he takes a driving lesson from ex-F1 champion Peter Roberts, now working as a driving instructor. After Keller robs a bank during the lesson, Roberts has no choice but to use his driving talent to get away from pursuing police and mobsters. That's Drive Hard. Here's the disc. My next one is Non-Stop with Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore. Here's the synopsis, if you haven't seen it. Global action star Liam Neeson stars in Non-Stop, a suspense thriller played out at 40,000 feet in the air. During a transatlantic flight from New York City to London, U.S. Air Marshal Bill Marks Neeson receives a series of cryptic text messages demanding that he instruct the airline to transfer $150 million into an offshore account. Until he secures the money, a passenger on his flight will be killed every 20 minutes. That's Non-Stop. The disc. My next review is Authors Anonymous with The Big Bang Theory, Katie Coco, American Pie, Chris Klein. Here's the synopsis. After a dysfunctional group of unpublished writers with the motto, all for one, accept Hannah Rinaldi into their fold, the last thing they expect is her overnight success. But that's exactly what they get. While her career takes off, her eccentric and envious colleagues struggle to find their own paths to publishing fame and fortune. Tensions rise, rivalries form, and hearts are broken. Rejection turns to desperation. Good thing they're only armed with pens. That's Authors Anonymous. Here's the disc. My next new one is Friended to Death with Veronica Mars's, what's his name again? Yeah. The next movie is Friended to Death with Veronica Mars's Ryan Hansen. Ryan Hansen was also in Veronica Mars the movie as Dick Casablancas. Its synopsis. Michael Harris is dead. Please like and share. After having the worst day of his life, obnoxious LA media May Michael Harris begins to question whether anyone will care if he died. Being a social media junkie, he concocts a scheme to fake his death online, just to see which of his so-called friends will show up at the funeral. Michael enlists his former colleague Emil to help execute the plan, but to Emil's increasing anxiety, Michael's phony death backfires, escalating to a whirlwind of trouble. In the end, Michael must learn what friendship really means. It is hyper-connected, yet paradoxically in isolating age of social media that we all live in, which as he comes to learn is a whole lot more than just tweets and status updates. That's Friended to Death. Here's the disc. The next movie is Brightest Star with Veronica Mars's Chris Lowe. Chris Lowe played Stosh in Veronica Mars. Here's the movie. Fresh out of college, a young man, Chris Lowe, is left devastated when the girl of his dreams stumps him. Refusing to move on, he devises a plan to transform himself into the man she desires. After resigning himself to working for the head of a company in corporate meritocracy, Clark Gregg, he falls for a hipster songstress, Jessica Zor, who likes him as he is. As his path continues to unfold unexpectedly, the counsel of a kindred spirit astronomer, Alison Janney, helps him understand how to truly carve out a place in the universe. That's Brightest Star. Here's the disc. The next one is the new Zac Efron one, That Awkward Moment. Here's the synopsis. Every relationship has that so moment. For a guy like Jason, Zac Efron, that's where things always end. He's firmly committed to non-commitment. When the marriage of his friend Michael B. Jordan, falls apart, Jason takes it as proof that the single life is for the better. To get Mikey back in the game, Jason lists him and drinking buddy Daniel, Miles Teller, to take a shared vow together. They'll stay single as long as humanly possible. Then along comes Ellie, Imogen Poots, the unpredictable, unforgettable one-night hookup who changes all the rules. Despite all his instincts, Jason just can't let her go, and his status is about to get very complicated. That's a movie called That Awkward Moment. Or in Australia, Are We Officially Dating? Here's the disc. The next one is Walk of Shame with Elizabeth Banks, Jason Marsden. Yeah, here's the synopsis. The outrageous comedy Walk of Shame stars Elizabeth Banks, The Hunger Games, Pitch Perfect, as a resourceful reporter whose one-night stand with a handsome stranger, James Marsden of Anchorman 2, leaves her stranded the next morning in downtown Los Angeles without a phone, car, ID or money, and only 8 hours before the most important job interview of her career. That's Walk of Shame. Here's the disc. The next one is Pompeii, with Kit Harington from TV's Game of Thrones. Here's the synopsis. Pompeii, no warning, no escape. Set in 79 AD, Pompeii tells the epic story of Milo, Kit Harington, a slave-turned-invincible gladiator who finds himself in a race against time to save his true love, Cassia, Emily Browning, the beautiful daughter of a wealthy merchant who has been unwittingly betrothed to a corrupt Roman senator. As Mount Vesuvius erupts in a torrent of blazing lava, Milo must fight his way out of the arena in order to save his beloved as once the magnificent Pompeii crumples around him. That's Pompeii. Watch it. It's a good movie. Is the disc. My next movie is The Double with Jesse Eisenberg, Mia Witowska. His synopsis. The Double. Simon is a timid man, scratching out an isolated existence in an indifferent world. He is overlooked at work, scorned by his mother, and ignored by the woman of his dreams. He feels powerless to change any of these things. The arrival of new co-worker James serves to upset the balance. James is both Simon's exact physical double and his opposite, confident, charismatic, and good with women. To Simon's horror, James slowly starts taking over his life. That's The Double. Here's the disc. The next movie is called Don Peyote with Dan Fogler. His synopsis. A midlife crisis over his upcoming wedding sends 32-year-old unemployed stoner Warren Altman on the drug trip of a lifetime. In this off-the-wall comedy starring Dan Fogler, Josh Duhamel, Jay Baruchel, and a host of celebrity cameos, fueled by vivid apocalyptic dreams, Warren becomes obsessed with doomsday theories and decides to make a documentary on the subject while his fiancée is busy planning their wedding. That's Don Peyote. Here's the disc. The next one is my new one called T.S. Spivet. His synopsis. The next one is called T.S. Spivet with Elena Bonham-Carter. Synopsis. T.S. Spivet lives on a ranch in Montana with his mother, who's obsessed with the mythology of Beatles, his father and his 14-year-old sister, who dreams of becoming Miss America. T.S. is a 12-year-old prodigy with a passion for cardiology and scientific inventions. One day, he receives an unexpected call from the Smithsonian Museum telling him that he is the winner of the very prestigious Bard Prize for his discovery of the perpetual motion machine, that he is invited to a reception in his honor where he is expected to give a speech. Without telling anyone, he sets out on a freight train across the USA to reach Washington. That's T.S. Spivet. Here's the disc. My second last movie is called About Last Night. His synopsis. A modern reimagining of the classic romantic comedy. This contemporary version follows new love for two couples, Danny, Michael Ealy, and Bernie, Kevin Hart, two single men living their lives on the wild side. But when Danny meets Debbie, Joy Bryant, at a bar, and the two start a relationship, after a one-night stand, his life takes a different turn. Along the way, Debbie's best friend, Joan, Regina Hall, discovers just how difficult finding and maintaining true love can be. The film is based on David Mamet's 1974 play Sexual Perversity in Chicago, which was adapted into the hit 1986 romantic comedy About Last Night. Here's the disc. And my last movie is called Trust Me with Clark Gregg. His synopsis. Trust Me tells the sharp comic story of Howard Holloway, Gregg, down on his luck agent for child actors, and truly one of the last good guys left in Hollywood. After discovering a 30-year-old acting prodigy, Sabino, he is poised to close the deal of a lifetime, which would catapult his twin client and at long last himself into the big time. With the support of his gorgeous new neighbor, Pete, he must wrangle the actress's fertile, overprotective father, dodge a scheming producer, Felicity Huffman, and outwit his uber-slick nemesis, Sam Rockwell. That's Trust Me. Here's the disc. The movies I reviewed today are Trust Me, About Last Night, T.S. Spivet, Don Peyote, The Double, Pompeii, Walk of Shame, That Awkward Moment, Brightest Star, Friended to Death, Authors Anonymous, Don't Stop, Drive Hard, and The Angriest Man in Brooklyn. I'm the J-Man saying goodbye. I'm the J-Man saying goodbye.